I think there's a fear of like, will I be fulfilled in 20 years? You know, if I'd never create that. But that's just where I'm at this season of my life, so.
To your point, Tom and I spoke about that. So before I gave that analogy of like what the average Wednesday in the 3 doors, the discussion Tom and I had is what life does he want as well, right? And so he turned to me, and I knew this already because I knew that I married an ambitious man. Right. And I always swore, I'd seen so many people get divorced in my life. And I was like, what are the things that I'm noticing? Is that a lot of people think that because you've got a ring on your finger that automatically things change.
Right.
And I know my husband's ambitious. So why on earth, just because I'm marrying him, should that change? Sure. I know that I married an ambitious man. Yeah. So when that comes to kids, what does that actually look like? So sitting with him, he was like, babe, I love you. I'll love the kids. Like if you want children, like there's a part of me that really wants it. And so he said, I'd be so on board. He's like, but let's be very clear. I'm not the person coming home at 7 p.m.
Right.
From Monday to Friday, I'm not waking up in the middle of the night.
Right.
He literally was like, even a newborn.
This is the thing that I've told Martha.
Yeah.
I've told Martha, I was like, listen, I want kids, but this is going to be my mission. And I'm not just saying this and it's going to change.
Yes.
Like, you have to accept it. And she's like, I like that. That was the way my father was. You know, we had the specific roles where he worked really, really hard. And my mom loved that about him. And we celebrated him when he came home.
Yeah.
We didn't expect something different. It didn't mean he wasn't there for us and didn't play and connect and, you know, was engaged. So he said that to you. I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be working 120 hours a week.
Yeah. So he was like, so when we talk about having kids, he's like, you know, if you want to do both business and have kids as well, you have to bear in mind, you know, how I want to, you know,
live
show
life.
up. Yeah. And so he was the thing. I mean, you should see with him with our puppies. He's such a softie. So he was like, of course, if we have children, he's like, I want to be present for them.
Of course.
But then this is where the third question had to come up. All right. So if you're not going to be home 7 p.m. at night, having dinner, if you're not getting up in the middle of the night to, you know, do the diaper changes and all of that, that's fine. You've been very honest. Let's lay it out before we have the children. Right. Don't want to find out once I've had the kids that this is your, you know, this is how you want to be. And then what happens now? Like on the weekends. And he's like, oh, well, of course I want to be a great father. I do not want to be an absent father. So, you know, I'll make sure that I spend time with them. So then I said, where's time for me? And you have to have that discussion.
Right.
And so he was like, yeah, we need to talk about that. And then the same for me. If I'm taking care of the kids all day, and it's like, where's the time for him? And so we just said, are you okay with being bumped down on my priority list? And so we had that discussion. I said, no, I'm actually not okay. I want to be your number one. And he's like, yeah, I want to be your number one too. Is
there a world where you can be each other's number one, the kids can be happy and supported, and you could thrive in business?
And maybe. And that's very, like, I think everyone needs to see what that actually looks like for them. But I'm so logistical. Yeah. Like, my that's how my mind works. I'm like, well, where are the hours? But there aren't enough hours in the day. But how would you actually do that? Now, here's the thing. When I even say priority, Monday to Friday, my hours are way more prioritized between business than personal.
Sure.
Like, I don't really see Tom. Like, we kiss each other good morning, and then we like kiss each other goodnight, and we have business meetings during the day. Like that's our relationship interaction. We've decided that. We've cultivated it together. We've worked on it together. So the amount of hours that go towards my business versus my personal, it's definitely business.
Sure.
But I'm so not conflicted on what is my priority that I would burn my company to the ground in a heartbeat if my husband needed me to.
Sure.
I would, if he said, hey, look, we're starting to fracture, I would immediately stop doing my interviews. I would tell my company, the people in our company, hey, I can't be present right now.
Right. You'd pause what you need to get back on track.
Yes. Yeah. So my relationship is definitely my priority.
Have you seen a model of a woman who is, you know, built a massive business or impact with their business and has a healthy marriage and has children? Have you seen a model out there? Or
I don't really know what's happening with people's marriages, right? So I can only
never
say
fully
from
know.
Yes. So I can only say from the outside, and that's why Tom and I, it's like we work so hard on our relationship, so hard. It's like we work harder on that, I think, than we do our business. So I don't want to, like, I know how hard it is from our perspective and what we're looking for in our relationship.
Right.
So I don't want to judge other people. But from the outside, the person I'm like, I need to talk to her. Like, I actually need to ask her if she's really close to her husband, Sarah Blakely.
That's what I was going to say.
Like,
I know them personally.
4 children?
No, I know them personally. I've been to their house many times. They're incredible. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that I don't know 100% of how their relationship is, but whenever I'm around them,
They look like they are.
it is, listen, they got a lot going on, you know, and I'm at their place, they got people working there, they're building stuff, you know, people helping cook food, they got people helping with the kids, doing homework.
Yeah.
They got a lot of things happening, a lot of activities, they're going to sports games all day, all that stuff. But it seems to me like they've figured out a model that works for them.
Yeah.
And I love being around them because that's kind of what I envision my life in the future is like they figured out a model. I hope it's all true, but I mean, they're incredible and they're so generous and kind and loving with each other. Now, I'm sure there's certain things that they've had to sacrifice here and there, but they both have thriving businesses and brands and careers that make massive impact.
Yeah.
Jesse, I feel like he's off doing what he said he was going to do. I'm going to go live these days, my life a certain way. I have these weekends where I'm gone. I have these days where I'm gone doing my adventures, running my business. Same with her. So I see the model has worked for them.
Yeah.
Which is really inspiring. Usually you see people who have family and businesses, maybe the relationship has taken a back seat. And that's not exciting to me.
Yeah. And I think that it's very powerful. And like you said, it seems like they're amazing. They're both individuals, right? Like Jesse's his own man.
Oh man,
and Sarah's her own woman.
Yes.
And so it's beautiful to see these two people who can really own their own thing, what they love to do. It seems like they go and crush it, right? And then have this beautiful family. And there's something that you said that I forgot to leave out earlier is I did process that and I decided I didn't want a nanny. That was part of my decision making because I was like, all right, well, you could easily go out and you can, you know, have someone to look after your kids. So many women do it. No judgment. I think that's amazing. I grew up with au pairs in my house, like these, you know, foreign people that would come and live in your house back then. And so I looked at that situation. I was like, but then I'd need someone to live in my house to help to get up in the middle of the night and help really. And I was like, that's not a lifestyle I want. And so kind of going, what's a solution? Is that a lifestyle you want? And I just was brought up with my mum was a stay-at-home mum, you know, like for half of my life. And then she had to go to work. But when I think about how beautiful it was that my mum was standing at my school gate waiting for me.
Beautiful.
And so I just go, what mum do I actually want to be?
Right.
I didn't want to be the type of mother that felt like I was getting pulled in two different directions. And so, again, I only respect women that are making decisions that are right for them. I just knew the important thing is don't act how everyone else is doing it.
Do it the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Yeah, and I think what Sarah did, which is the reason why it worked for them, is I think she took a pause from being the CEO of Spanx for, I think, 5-6 years, I think.
Oh, I didn't realize.
I'm sure she was still involved in certain ways, but it was probably pulled back way back. I'll have to ask her to get the facts straight, but I think she took a number of years off from CEO, put in someone, but the business had grown to a large business that time that it was, the momentum was building kind of on its own. She didn't need to work harder and harder for it to keep growing and impacting more women at that stage. And so I think it allowed them for her to be there more committed to the kids at the early years to now to having more flexibility. They're off to school, so she has time to work during the day, and I think she just sold the company anyways. But so I think that is what the structure worked for them, but I'm sure it comes with its challenges too. So,
and that's the thing. I think everything does come with a challenge, right? So really,
having kids, not having kids, building a business, not building a business.
Yeah, like where do you want to put your effort? And it was
Of
actually
course.
who was it? Someone was on an Impact Theory Tom show, and someone had said that it stuck with me forever. I mean, years. But he went to therapy for his relationship. And he said, and the therapist said to him...
Was this me on the show?
It may have been. I don't think it was. But, it hit me so hard. It was like, all right, you went to a therapist to talk about your relationship. Is your goal to have a successful relationship in life? And they were like, yes. It's like, okay, if you can embrace, all relationships are going to be hard. All relationships are going to take a lot of energy. So now the question needs to be, is this the person that is worth that energy? Because, right, it's like if you want a healthy relationship, just embrace it's going to take work. Great. Now, if you're seeking therapy or any issue with a partner, with a spouse, whether it's kids, whether it's work, just decide, is this where it's worth me putting the energy to try and make it work? There's no guarantee, but is this what I'm trying to do? And so for me, it really was, where do I want to put my energy? Where is it going to fulfill me? Right. And start strip away all the assumptions and comparisons of other women.
Of course.
And so for 8 years, I was just waiting for when. I was waiting for when my husband was happy.
Sure.
When we made enough money. When I felt confident enough to speak up about my unhappiness. And as we all know, the when sometimes never comes.
Right. Well, it sounds to me like there was no mission.